thought it was bad now, just wait until Tuesday when Title 42 runs out. The U.S. funded invasion of America kicked into high gear this weekend. The videos are just unbelievable of all sorts of thousands of illegal migrants pouring into Texas. Of course, Title 42 is set to run out on Thursday, and the Biden administration doesn't appear to have.
This video is brought to you by Redacted. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell them Larry James sent you. Larry James 965 sent you. This video is used for entertainment, fair use, and educational purposes. Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Any appetite whatsoever to extend it or to make it permanent. And that's because they're actively funding the operation at camps throughout Latin America to bring these migrants into the United States. They're actively funding it. Over the past 24 hours, we've seen extraordinary videos and positions from politicians that make your jaw drop. Just go to New York City. Here's a map of New York City. Now, look at this map. What is the big green thing in the center of Manhattan? Anybody?
Central Park.
Central Park. Yeah, Central Park. See that giant? It's the largest inner city park in the world, I think, right? It hasn't been eclipsed by any. It's massive, absolutely massive, right? New York is saying, yes, send all your migrants here. We'll turn Central Park into a tent city so that this entire green space in the middle of your screen will be filled with tents. I mean, just look at that. Think about the people that are like on the Upper East Side on this map. They're going to go out. They're going to look out their window. This is the richest zip code in the world,
yes,
right?
It
is the Upper East Side.
It is also the crankiest.
The crankiest. And yeah, the most miserable, which seems appropriate. They're going to look out their windows now. This is where Jeffrey Epstein lived, by the way. Look out their windows and they're going to see tents everywhere. So when all these rich people go to walk their dogs in the Upper East Side, guess what? They're going to walk right into illegal immigrants in tent cities all over the place. And because New York City, go ahead.
I was going to say, do they plan to deliver like designer tents for these people? Or are they going to have to get their own tents?
I wonder. I mean,
Like,
we
will
were
they do,
shown
like,
all
coach
of these
tents and
tents during COVID, that they were using them for morgues, tented morgues. So maybe they reuse that infrastructure that they already had.
Yeah, they
but
have
just
it.
less cold.
Well, this is what the mayor of New York City is saying today, that New York City is bracing for this. They're going to have tents in Central Park. They'll use Citi Field where the Mets play, which is totally fine by me as a Phillies fan. Like you could do that. I don't care about Citi Field at all. Coney Island. They're also going to leasing the dorm rooms. So they're going to take over college dorm rooms throughout the New York City as well. They'll build container homes. So they'll just have containers plopped around where they'll put the people. Retrofitting unused airplane hangars at JFK. So they'll just put people in airplane hangars at JFK. So what the mayor is saying is like, yeah, come on up to New York City and come up to New York. So this is unbelievable.
But
go ahead.
If I can just real quick, the one thing I see missing in almost all of those are facilities, restrooms.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what if
water.
your baby gets sick? How do you get, a doctor? How do you get a Tylenol? How do you take a shower?
Well, yeah, but we're all trying to be empathetic here and talk about like, okay, now we're going to start taking care. Why no, it should be stopped well before this ever comes to the United States. This should not be something that we're now worrying about, like diapers and all. No. That's after the fact. Like, can we start with where this is starting from? Can we go there? Go ahead, David.
I was going to say, and you know what's going to happen? You saw those lakes and waters and ponds and stuff in there that people like Tucker Carlson actually fishes in that park. That's going to be contaminated with that because that's where the diapers will go. That's where the feces and urine will go. They'll put it right in that water.
Oh, yeah. That'll be the reservoir.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. So no more little swan rides on your romantic date in Central Park. This is what it's going to look like. So,
or pushing, we had our son in New York City. We used to take him on stroller walks all the time. That's just, that's no longer going to be a space for city residents, even though they will be paying taxes in order to maintain it.
So take a look at these crazy videos overnight. These are the migrants coming across the thousands of people in a line. This is drone footage, and it's just unbelievable. Is that how short it was? Sorry, it was like 2 seconds long. Anyway, this.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, sorry. Anyway, this is okay. Sorry, you can replay that, I guess. But this was drone footage that goes on and on and on. I don't know why it got clipped there, but anyway, if it panned
believe you.
fully left, you would have seen way more people all the way down. Again, this is near El Paso. And here's Jorge Ventura, who has been covering this. These are the 10 cities that are set up in El Paso right now. Watch this.
Reporting in El Paso, this is the
Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great day. We're just kind of kicking the dog, kicking the cat, kicking the kids. If you have anything you'd like to say, please interject.
current scene right now. As you guys can see, this is a true humanitarian crisis. This is the streets of El Paso. There are roughly 2,500 migrants released onto the streets, sleeping here. Not all migrants have NTAs. That's the notice of here, but these are the living conditions. ¿Este es Venezuela, señor? ¿Cuántos días tienen aquí en la calle? So he said he's been waiting for 2 weeks here on the streets. The majority of the migrants that we've been speaking with are from Venezuela. We've also spoke to migrants from Nicaragua, Colombia, Turkey, Africa, and many more. But these are the current scenes here in El Paso as authorities get ready for the ending of Title 42 on May 11th. What migrants are telling me is the reason they're crossing now is because Title 42 is officially ending, and they've already spoke to other family members that have been released in the United States. Hola, hola, hola. ¿Son de Venezuela todos? No. ¿Venezuela no? ¿Cuál parte? No, de Ecuador. ¿De Ecuador? ¿Cuánto tiempo ya tienen aquí viviendo en la calle del Paso? ¿Mucho tiempo? ¿2 días? No, varios días, pero no recuerdo exactamente. So he said he's been here for several days. There's also kids here. There have been reports of chickenpox breaking out in some of these migrant camps here in El Paso. But there's migrants all over the streets right now. It is a true humanitarian crisis, and it's putting a real strain on authorities here in El Paso. Now, the mayor has declared an emergency. So here, once again, we're going to look at more migrants. Hola, ¿son de Venezuela?
I think that
So
he left out part of the first guy he talked to. He said, "Sin dinero no puedo pasar." Like, without money, I can't pass through. Like, he didn't have. That was strange. I don't know the context of it, but he was making this gesture, which said to me like he needs to pay to
Mhm.
get to the front of the line or something like that. Like, is there something where, I mean, of course, there are systems where you can pay to get across the border with a coyote or something, but are they asking them to pay for appointments?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to his reporting on that. We can ask him though. I
He
don't know.
didn't. He didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But of course, he's talking about Title 42, which of course expires on Thursday. And it's a section of the United States Code, for those of you that aren't familiar, which is a compilation of a bunch of federal laws that all got kind of shoehorned together. It is officially known as the Public Health and Welfare Law, and it contains various provisions related to public health and social welfare. And one specific provision, of course, of Title 42 has gotten the most attention, which is the public health order portion of it. The provision allows the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to impose restrictions on the entry of certain individuals into the United States in order to prevent the spread of communicable diseases. So here's a question. If tuberculosis is a concern, is that a communicable disease? He's talking about chicken pox. He's talking about, there's all discussions of scabies and lice and all sorts of other communicable diseases. But tuberculosis at the top of the list, and that's nothing to laugh about. TB, massively important.
I want
and very,
some
very
lice
dangerous.
and some
We'll get into that
scabies.
problem in a
Sign
second.
me
Many
up.
are calling what's happening at the U.S.-Mexico border a deliberate invasion of the United States, a well-orchestrated invasion. This isn't just like by chance. All of those countries that he was just talking about, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Many of them have been specifically destabilized thanks to the United States intervention in those countries.
And actually, the whistleblower that we had who worked in the child migration services said recently that this is one question we still had, that there are massive recruitment programs in home country. She was saying this specifically about children, but how does that then extend to adults? Like, who told these people that this would be a good thing for them to do? What bill of goods were they sold that made them want to do this?
Right, exactly. So the everyday buses by the hundreds are coming through the Darien Gap in Darien Province, Panama, at these U.S. funded camps headed for the United States, tens of thousands. I mean, just look at these buses. These are filled. These are state-of-the-art buses, filled, just leaving Darien Gap in Panama and heading right there, filled with people that are coughing uncontrollably with tuberculosis, scabies, lice. And this isn't just like conspiracy theory stuff. Michael Yon, who is an investigative journalist, former Green Beret, has been there covering this extensively, interviewing these migrants for months. He's been there for a very, very long time. And these people are shuttled right to the U.S. border. And this is the video that he shot the other night of these buses filled with immigrants, many of them coughing uncontrollably. And he calls them tubercubuses.
I mean, that sounds awful.
That's what they are. And they're coming right into the United States. These buses are headed to America. It's a disaster unfolding right before our eyes. Michael Yon is in town. He's a former Green Beret. He tweeted this the other day. He said, good morning. While you slept, the occupation government, United States, was assembling its replacement army to kill you. These useful idiots will be disposed of later. Now comes your turn to experience genocide. So I sat down with Michael yesterday and had a long discussion about what's happening here. And it's not just about the Darien Gap. This is just one major thoroughfare, the Darien Gap. But Michael and I talked for, it seemed like hours. We had a great conversation. That'll be a part of a deeper redacted conversation later in the week here on the channel.
I mean, it's worth noting that without sanctions that were placed on Panama for years because of Noriega, they might not have these communicable diseases. They might be further, ahead in their public health situation. So I just want to make sure that we're not sort of like blaming it on the people who are suffering from this. Like this is a structural problem, clearly.
Yeah. So I asked Michael when I sat down with him, I said, we started by saying, can you explain what is exactly happening at the Darien Gap?
5 months in the Gap and the Darien Gap. And actually at the instantaneous rate of bus flow from Darien Gap is about 30 to 40 bus loads per day. That's increasing. But there are hundreds that are coming through when you start adding up, for instance, Guatemala, El Salvador, Mexico. For instance, we have many of the migrants who are flying to places like Cancun first. So they'll fly to Cancun or Tapachula in Mexico or Mexico City, and then they will jump on their buses from there, or even trains, actually on the roof of some trains. So anyway, I spend a lot of time on the Mexican border with Arizona and the United States, and also over in Morocco, watching the same thing between Greece and Turkey,
Yes,
Lithuania.
you too.
I watch it all over Europe.
For all these
weaponized
people
migration is something
come
I'm studying
over
in
here
detail. And this
and
top
to
that
drain
causes
this.
the human osmotic pressure, the push and
I'm
pull of
confused.
migration. Right now, we have about 200 per day Chinese coming through the Darien Gap alone. That does not include ones who are coming.
Are they helping us? We helping
the ones who
them?
are coming through,
Or are they
for instance,
taking from us?
well, Canada is a lot. Others are
and
just getting
making
visas
our
and
country
landing
go
at
down
Atlanta
the
Airport,
tubes
right?
faster.
So there's a lot that are coming through
What do you
the
think?
northern route. They fly to, like I said, Mexico first and that sort of thing. There's many different routes to get people into the United States. But the bottom line is this is a weaponized migration.
A weaponized migration. And this is happening not just in the United States, but it's happening all throughout Europe. It's happening on a number of places. So this isn't just happening in the United States. It's important for us as people of the world to understand what's happening to the United States and how it's being weaponized.
Well, they're weaponizing people against people.
Yeah, that's exactly
it's
what they're
awful.
doing. It's yes, it's exactly what they're doing. So who's paying for all these buses? Who's paying for these state-of-the-art buses? Who's paying the bus drivers? And the US government, the EU setting up these camps there. So I asked him, who's specifically funding all of these state-of-the-art buses that are carrying these people right to the United States? Watch.
United States. For instance, Mayorkas, Alexander, Mayorkas, the chief of Homeland Security, he just came down to that camp where those buses are coming out of. That's called San Vicente Camp, right? We are openly funding it. It's not hidden. Our flag is on tents inside that camp, and also at Las Blancas Camp, and also in Bajo Chiquito Village and Canan Membrillo Village. These actually 5 major camps. There's another one up near David, near Costa Rica. The United States is openly funding it, as is the European Union. Now, this is a very interesting question. Who's actually doing this and why? Clearly, the World Economic Forum, they're very open about it. It's right on their website, like Governor Greg Abbott from Texas. He's part of the World Economic Forum. People don't believe me. I say, stop, drop, roll. Web search, Greg Abbott, World Economic Forum. You'll see him on their website. There's his mug with his bio on the World Economic. None of this is hidden. It's right in your face, right? At the end of the day, who's funding all this? The United States government is clearly funding it. Mayorkas came down here with the Southcom commander, commanding general in April. The bottom line is our military is also involved in helping people get through, right? They're clearly involved, deeply involved.
And one other thing we should talk about is that if you're young and you're a pretty girl, they hand you a kit. This is not just any kit. It's a rape kit that they hand you preemptively. They're handing them to young girls. This is U.S. funded. This is taxpayer funded. What's in it? Well, you can take a look on your screen. You know exactly what that is.
The morning after pill.
Mm-hmm. So these are both contraceptives and this is Labelle, or is an emergency hormonal contraceptive. And as Michael explains and others, if you're like, most of these girls will be raped. That's just what happens. So they're handed these rape kits, and these girls are like, "Oh, thank you. You're handing this to me." Yeah, this is U.S. taxpayers handing this to these individuals before they make their journey. Here you're on the bus that the U.S. is funding. Here's your handy dandy rape kit. The buses are carrying many diseases into the United States, including scabies, tuberculosis. And I asked Michael specifically about this. He's interviewed so many people. He's like literally seen these guys.
Where do I sign up?
Like crazy.
I want to get
he's helping
some of this
even get out, handing out medicine to some of these people. Here's what he had to say
Tuberculosis,
about the diseases.
scabies.
Scabies is another
lice.
very serious disease.
Oh
And
boy,
which is
sounds
clearly
fun to
spreading,
me.
not to mention multi-drug resistant tuberculosis, which is coming up Highway 1 every day on these buses right now. It's already all over the United States. Tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is one of the worst diseases in all human history, right? It's up there with Black Death, yellow fever, smallpox. It's Mac Daddy, right? This is not Spanish
Mac
flu.
Daddy
Spanish
of
flu was
Daddy,
bad, but
Mac
Spanish
Daddy.
flu was like an ultra cold, right? It killed tens of millions of people, maybe, but it's nothing like tuberculosis. Tuberculosis that's coming through now, multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. We can't stop it. It's already all over the United States. Even the CDC admits to this, right? And what are we going to do as these busloads of people come up with? They're coming from places like Afghanistan, Pakistan,
Yeah, kind of
Somalia.
like,
These
get the
places which
shot.
are-
It's gonna
the
protect you.
MDR-TB
You
is
won't
there,
give it
right?
to your loved ones.
The doctors who are watching this, who specialize in this, know how serious this is. And there's other things coming up as well. Nobody is being screened.
No one's being screened for it. Hop on the bus. We don't care if you're coughing. Going to the United States.
Well, if you think of the effort that went into a global vaccination effort for COVID, and how much money and how much resources were put into something where the immunity lasted less than 1 year. We now have the data out, right? And so these are our opportunity costs. We could do that, or we could give a tuberculosis vaccine to people that last forever, right? Maybe you get a booster for TB, do you? I'm not
I don't know.
sure.
Do you ever get
But
it?
you can get, yes, you
Oh.
get TB vaccines. So we could vaccinate for that instead, or these other communicable diseases.
Give them an idea. I'm sure Pfizer would love to
We
jump in.
chose instead to roll out the COVID vaccine.
Right.
So
because
think
this
about
is
like
all
how much
they
they're
don't want them
actually
to be
protected.
vaccinated. Yeah, they don't want them to.
protecting us.
They want them to be. They don't want them to be protected. They certainly don't want. They would encourage this. They don't want them to be clean, safe, sanitized when they arrive in the United States. That's all part of the plan. So the weaponized migration is not just affecting the United States. You should pay attention and wake up. I mean, it's happening all through Europe. And all you need to do is look at how the World Economic Forum also uses it to take over different countries, weaponize it for what they're doing in the Netherlands, to take over farms, et cetera. It's happening all over the world. Because the weaponized migration is affecting Panama, Colombia. So listen to how many Venezuelans have now come into Panama and totally changed the dynamic of that country. Watch.
Why are they going through South America, by the way? They're not many of the migrants are, let's say, alien invaders at this point, are not going through South America. Like I said, many of them will start in Mexico, or they just start in Canada, or they walk up on beaches in Florida. Like a lot of the Chinese are going through, for instance, Bahamas. But the ones who will go through South America, there's specific reasons why people from about 140 countries go through South America. For instance, the Haitians and the Cubans don't need visas to go to Suriname. Suriname is a small country, an old Dutch colony in South America, right? So they can go to Suriname and then make their way over to Colombia and go up to the Darien Gap in Panama. And a lot of the Haitians already lived in Chile for usually about 5 to 6 years now. There's a lot of them that went there 5 or 6, 7 years ago. And a lot of them are in Brazil. And then you had Venezuela collapse, of course. So right now, the Panamanian government, I had a long meeting with them a couple of weeks ago. Panamanian high government official told me that 11% of the people in Panama are now new Venezuelans. I said, hold on.
What?
Please repeat that.
What?
Did you? I know. That's what I said. That's what I said. I said, stop. Hold on. I don't mean to be impolite. I mean, I was talking to her, actually. I said, can you repeat what you just said? And she said, 11, her English is good. She said, 11% of the people in Panama are Venezuelans. I said, okay, hold on. I was just down in Colombia. And the Colombian, I was in Colombia last year, but this meeting was a couple of weeks ago. And I said, last year in Colombia, the streets in Colombia were filled with Venezuelans. But now Colombia is collapsing. And Colombia, so now I see a lot of Colombians come through. So I said, wait a minute. So let me repeat what you just said. 11%, 11% of the people in Panama are new Venezuelans. And she said, yes, 11%. So I said, there you have it. I mean, it's like, and it's destabilizing Panama. There's starting to be food problems here, not shortages. I hired 2 men about a week ago to go out and start surveying the villages and whatnot on food issues. And there's starting to be some food issues. There's still plenty of food, but the problem is the economy is going down for various reasons, right? Well, we can see global economies are going down.
So Venezuela, now not just Panama, but of course what's happening on the streets of Texas, right? So Venezuelans, Nicaraguans, like you're seeing the starting of this pattern all the way up through. So we're going to have a deeper conversation with Michael later in the week about his coverage of this, and he travels all over the world.
How
and in war
fast
zones.
can
But
we destroy
this is
our
happening,
company?
guys. And Thursday,
How fast
Title
can we
42
make it go
expires.
down the
What will happen
drain?
after that?
How
What will happen
fast
after
can
that?
we
We are looking
just
at a changed country.
go?
Absolutely a changed country. And you have all of these city mayors that are saying, hey,
Morning, Denny. How you doing? I've missed you too. Anna isn't here. She's at home. Hope you're doing well. We're just kind of being low-keyed here. Just kind of jumping around back and forth and somewhere in between. No doubt about it.
come to our city. We'll fly you in here. We'll set up these 10 cities. We're preparing right now, and we're getting ready, and they're actively encouraging it. So it's all part of the plan. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc.
Yes, join
That's our
Redacted
private locals community where we
and
can
tell
share
them that
exclusive
Larry
content that we
James
simply cannot
965
share
sent
here
you.
on YouTube. Come over and join the
Great day and
rebellion
a better
together
tomorrow.
right now by going.
All right, we're going to go to something completely different here. This video is brought to you by Social Security Disability Benefits. Please like, subscribe, and share. The title of the video is Social Security Debt Ceiling Good News. Thank you.
The good news related to Social Security benefits when it comes to this upcoming potential crisis of this debt ceiling issue, right? Where they have to get more money to run the government because they've run out of money to run the government. And that's, obviously a poor fiscal situation, which our politicians have not been watching the purse well enough. But here's the good news. And I want you to think about this because this is important. The government shut down in 1995 and 2013. The SSA, upon the government shutdown, will retain a skeleton crew upon the debt ceiling fight reach a stalemate. That means they're still going to process payments. Here is the good news about the Social Security benefits being paid while the SSA partially shuts down. Every year, it becomes easier for the SSA to process payments because each year more and more people go onto digital lists that pay into digital forms. Those include direct deposit, direct express cards, but not a paper check that's sent in the mail. So since fewer and fewer people are using direct mail checks, fewer staff are needed to process the payments needed because fewer staff are needed. You can expect the staff at the SSA to be able to pay out more funds longer, right? You don't need as many staff members. You can hold on to a skeleton staff and pay them less for, a longer period because you don't need as many people. Now, the federal treasury payments from SSA database lists are highly automated. But keep in mind, as the federal government stays closed beyond the 2-month mark, more and more of that skeleton crew begins to shrink and shrink and shrink. So expect by the beginning of month 3 that potential problems may arise, being that authorization staff are furloughed that are needed for payments, but more specifically, paper checks that people have to do something with. Okay. We all know that the government will work a deal within 2 months, or we hope anyways, basically after June 1st, when they essentially go broke. So June 1st, they go broke, and then 2 months later, I'm expecting they might have issues at the SSA with staff. So as of right now, I don't foresee there being a crisis, but rather all we have.
Atera is the IT painkiller. Remote monitoring and management, remote access, help desk and ticketing, smart automations, patching.
Is a manufactured crisis by our politicians, right? So while 1995 and 2013 were bad, yes, 2023 could be worse. But even if it is worse, it likely won't see those people on automated systems losing their benefits even when the government shuts down and starts removing the water fountain handles at the national park. Because heaven forbid the homeless get a drink, right? That's the whole thing there. Now, House Republicans passed a bill that raises the debt ceiling, avoiding default and slightly, getting rid of some tactless, reckless spending, right? This gives us the glimmer of hope, but of course it has different levels to clear, the Senate and the White House. Now, here's the thing that I expect that you should consider when it comes to tactics for this upcoming situation. Number one, the people who are most likely to have their benefits not paid on time are those who are just being found disabled, because you might not make it onto that list that they rely on as a rotation to just keep paying people through their automated process. Another group of people who might want to worry a little bit are those individuals who are going through a CDR, a continuing disability review. And if those individuals basically, let's call it like it is, have their benefits taken away, and then they go down to a skeleton crew and they have to automate everything, and you're not, getting through that CDR very quickly, then guess what? If you don't request that your benefits continue within that 10 days, which is absolutely ridiculous, you might not end up on the automated list, is what I'm saying. April Galton, thank you for the $5 donation. Very cool. Keep it up. Very good, very good. And Purple Mafia, very cool. $4.99 donation with the NES controller, the Super NES controller. Indeed. Very cool. Thank you guys. I super appreciate it. I really do appreciate the donations because this house next door has just been killing me with this whole restoration yada yada, which is just, I had no idea. I just had no friggin' clue. But it is what it is. Now, that's kind of the good news. You can expect hyper automation. We know from the prior commissioner, Commissioner Saul, he pretty much, I mean, they blamed it on other stuff too, but he pretty much got fired because he withheld the processing of SSI applicant payments because he negotiated with the IRS and the Treasury for the SSA reps to get more money. Great CEO move, shitty move for paying those who are on SSI benefits because they were literally without their stimulus checks as a result of his trying to get more money for his employees. Now, the thing is, if you guys want to be safer in this whole situation, like, essentially more protected, if you will, what you need to know is this. You want to switch away from mailed checks to the direct deposit and the direct express. Those are much more automated, even though, yes, they have machines and the machines print and they fold over the envelope and they shoot them into the mail. These are much more automated systems. What happens when one of those printing machines goes down?
Do you want to get paid every week as a ClickBank affiliate? Just imagine getting almost guaranteed affiliate payments.
Right? It's possible. It's another ka-chunk in the process. However, I do understand why some people still get checks. Don't think I'm blind to this. And we know it's not because you don't have a bank account. It's because you don't want the SSA seeing what you spend your money on. I get it. I'm not trying to push you either way. I'm not judging you at all. But keep in mind, if they shut down, yours will be the first checks to not make it to the other potential available options, because I guarantee you those mega machines printing those checks, they're not going to have a full staff working them. And let's be honest, paper folding machines, they suck. They really suck. They break all the time. You guys ever had a big printer, used a big printer, found the big printer to fail all the time? I have. I still do. I'm going to sell it because it sucks. Anytime a printer has to fold paper or flip paper upside down or collate paper, put a staple in it, high likelihood that there's a potential for a printer mistake. Linda Soto, very cool. Thank you. $1.99. Thank you for the one up. Very cool. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. So I'm not trying to judge people, but my suggestion is if you are worried about it, and you should be potentially worried about it, switch to a more automated system. That is the good news, because we are unlikely to have this crisis unfold unless we get a lot of shenanigans from the Senate or the president, which, to be fair, seem to be full of shenanigans lately. So anyways, that's a short video. The other one was much longer. I wanted to keep this one short because things are frankly more scary right now than they are up. The next video I'm going to be doing is specifically on something that I have been worried about very much so, which is essentially what's going on with the Social Security Administration's hiring and quitting employees. Just to give you a quick update, in 2022, at the end of it, the SSA was at a 25-year low, which means that 25 years ago, they have less employees. Sorry, the SSA currently has less employees than they did 25 years ago. Yeah, sure, there's millions upon millions upon millions of new recipients that the SSA has to process. And yes, of course, they have more automated machines and more automated systems. But to be clear, the SSA, and I'm going to go through all the facts, not just the bullet points, is losing 1,000 people a month to quitting because people don't want to work for the SSA anymore. They're tired of putting up with mean people. They're tired of low pay. They're tired of low benefits, and they don't want to put up with it. So
no way. Come on, tell me it's not true.
Linda Soto,
we don't like
thank
to
you for the $4.99 donation. Thank you.
In the ass
guys,
without a reach around.
Video,
Damn it.
which will be very, very soon. I'm going to do it in like 2 minutes. We're going to get right to it. Give me 2 minutes, and this next video is specifically going to be on the SSA's staffing crisis and essentially how it affects the.
All right. This probably this video is not going to be very interesting, but I saw the title and I had to see it because it's in the, or on the state that I live on, and the title of the video is called Terrifying Things Caught in Oregon. And the video is brought to you by Unpopular Notes. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell them that Larry James 965 sent you. And everybody have a great day.
Really considered to be a safe place to live, there's no denying that we've had more than our fair share of infamous moments. Today, we have videos of several unsettling Oregon-related events, ranging from terrifying accidents to bizarre individuals. No matter where you are in the world, insane things happen, but using a microscope to focus on a single area can occasionally reveal a lot more than you might expect. Make sure to watch the entire video to see what I mean. The Intruder. Some people really want to know what happens when they sleep and how the world carries on, but for this Portland woman, it's a deeply disturbing intrusion.
This Portland woman is shaken up after discovering an intruder was walking around inside her home as she slept.
In an apartment complex, a woman is sleeping when a man walks through the rooms, going through the family's belongings and picking up some of the things that appeal to him.
It's scary. I'm a single mom, and to think that somebody just walked in my front door and could have just walked right into my bedroom, it's really scary.
The thief is too calm. There's no panic and no hurry. He just waltzes in and waltzes out with minimal fuss. The woman wouldn't have known about the intruder except for the missing items from her son's room.
You loaded up virtual reality headset, a game system, brand new shoes that my son had for his first day of school.
Those items prompted them to check the surveillance camera, and that was when she found out she'd had an intruder this close to her bedroom while she slept.
Morning, Nubs. Good to see you, bud. How you doing, man?
I'm doing swell. How about yourself?
Hanging to the left.
Right on, right on. Got to stay on target.
Or somewhere in between.
No, man. You shoot for the right target, you hit that target when you need to hit that target.
Is that why I had twins?
You hit it twice. Twice is better than once, so.
Twice in one shot, right?
There you go. There you go, two for ones.
Maybe I was using buckshot.
There you go.
So what kind of goodies are you up to today?
Well, I had a change of plans this morning. My business partner is texting me talking about spending $1,000 or more on a bunch of fucking bags for these damn mowers. And I said, no. That ain't how shit works. It's like, well, I gotta blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, I'm on my way, and I'll bring my fiberglass, and I'll bring my brain, and I'll bring a couple other things that are gonna just kind of make sense, and I'll build the fucking things. He's like, oh, well, they've done it for years, blah, blah, blah. I was like, perfect. Now I can take get it, idea with my material.
Yeah, you just need some kind of wire frame and then a piece of cloth around it.
Well, they're blower chutes, so they need to be aerated, so the wind can go through it and the process happens correctly. Well, my son no longer uses his trampoline, so I've got this big ass fucking braided tarp
Yeah.
for the not for the main part of the trampoline, but the part
Outside
that
edge.
goes, yeah, the safety cage.
Right.
So I'm taking that and I'm just gonna build a simple frame. They make fiberglass in rods for rebar.
Okay.
And all I'm going to do is take and make a simple frame out of that, reinforce it in a couple places with some X bracing, some zip ties, and some steel wool. Then fiberglass everything where it needs to be fiberglassed, and put that fucking cage around it, or that wire mesh around it, and it's fucking set.
Cool. No doubt about it.
You know, they're not going to do anything different. The one that we're looking at is an aluminum cage. Well, aluminum busts up just like everything else. I'm using fiberglass, so at least it has some, you know, bounce back.
Right.
And the thing is like, this is just a bunch of shit that I had laying around. You know, not to mention I do have some really, really expensive fucking fiberglass. So it's definitely going to be strong as a fucking yacht, because that's the fiberglass that I have is fiberglass from yacht building.
Right on.
But honestly, dude, these things are an expense that, you know, because the way I look at it is, if I save my company, you know, $1,000 in a day or in a couple of hours by making something that I've got shit sitting around, that's the same as if I went out and worked for $1,000 in that one day.
Right. I
Like,
gotta
there's-
say, I was gonna say good morning to Moose. He said hello to us. He says he's driving to the airport. I'm wondering who he's picking up or why he's going there. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Moose is coming to my house. He's finally gonna come work for me.
Is that it? He's gonna grab that shovel and go to work?
Yep. I'm gonna put that good man to work, and we'll see what he's made of.
All right, I just got to know though, is he going to be a master shoveler or is he going to be a master digger?
It takes a lot of fucking years to get to mastery.
Oh, so you're trying to say he's got his work cut out for him.
Well, I know I'm not doing the push-ups.
Damn it.
I'm not doing nobody else's push-ups. I don't care who you are. I'll put a shovel in your fucking hand and teach you how to dig a hole.
No doubt about it.
Then if you got something to teach me a thing or two about digging a hole, let's do it. I'm always down to learn.
Yeah, if there's a better way to dig a damn hole, I'm all game. I've dug quite a few holes. I worked for Labor Ready for 3 years, and 2 years of it I spent just digging ditches.
Well, the ditch the hole that I was digging yesterday and have to finish today, or am scheduled to finish today. It started at 3x3 square, and then it went down to 4.5 foot, somewhere in there. It's hard to tell because I kept on backfilling it and digging it back out, backfilling it, digging it back out. Because I was digging a trench that was a shovel width wide for some drainage. But needless to say, I got to enjoy some of the bounty of Minnesota clay. It's wonderful. Let me tell you, that shit gets packed. You might as well. Honestly, I was about to call Homestead and borrow her fucking hammer drill.
Yeah, I had to dig a 250 foot long ditch by about 8 feet deep and about 4 feet wide, and I did it with a shovel, and that whole area had like 6 different types of clay in it, and I'll tell you, that shit was fun.
Well, I've dug through a lot of different materials in my life, and I will happily dig through rock with a rock bar over clay any day.
Yeah. Well,
Because
it's Go ahead.
well, with rock bars, like I've got enough experience under my belt that I know how to dig those rocks without any hesitate. Like I know, for instance, the other day I was digging and there was another guy as a laborer there, and I'm digging out this rock, and I was like, there's another boulder there and there's another boulder there, and it's areas that I didn't dig at all.
Right.
And he's like, whatever, you're full of shit. I walked over, I grabbed my fucking deep bar or my pry bar, my big one, and I took it and I fucking boom right down into the ground, missed it. It's like, fuck. So then I moved over a couple inches, literally like 2 inches, did the same thing. Tink. Well, there's one. Did the same thing, missed it the first time. Tink, hit it the second time. He's like, no, those are probably little ones. I was like, well, if you think so. I'm sitting there digging it. I got it all taken care of. And once you know, 3 boulders, and the last one was the biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where if you have experience in a particular field, then you have experience in a particular field.
Yeah, no doubt. So I went to that place where I get batteries every now and then, and I was going to buy a bunch of those pouch batteries I showed you, but they were out of those ones right now. But there's some other ones I bought in the past. It's a 48 volt battery, about 300 watts of power. And when I first bought them, they were like, oh, I don't know, close to $100, and now I can get them really cheap. So I was thinking about investing in them, in a bunch of them.
Well, batteries are definitely, I would say that batteries are kind of like gold at this point, especially with your knowledge.
Well, yeah,
Because
one thing that's really nice about this is they're already pre-built packs. They were used for a server factory, server place. So they had to be, when they go into a server or medical field, they have to have like 6 different certifications to make sure that they're safety, because those batteries.
dude, you'd be stupid not to buy those.
Yeah, and they also have built-in like, okay, you get little nickel strips when you weld them together, to up your voltage. Well, these are actually fused strips where they're built. They're already made like a fuse to a certain thickness, so they will bust, right when it reaches that amperage or whatever. And these packs you can deliver up to 100 amps of power, so they're power-based cells. So if you have something that draws a lot of power, it's going to give it to you.
I would, if I were you, I would definitely buy them. Like I said, especially with your ability to figure out the electronics on it, dude. It would be stupid not to.
Yeah, I could buy one at a time, or they even have whole pallets that they've been auctioning off for a while. And I think there's 40 batteries to a pallet, and they've been averaging about $400 for the pallet.
So about $10 a battery. What are they individually?
Like I said, I paid up to $100.
No, what are they individually now? Like,
I don't really want to say.
Right on.
I don't want to slip my throat too much. Damn it.
No. Definitely. Honestly, I agree with what you're saying. Absolutely. If I were you, if I had the shipping capacity, I know batteries are heavy as shit. Otherwise, I'd be talking to you. I'd say let's close this down and go to a private chat.
It costs. Well, I know it costs. I think it's $250 to get a pallet shipped.
Yeah, probably a little bit more for where I'm at, depending on where it's coming from.
Philadelphia, I think.
I guess they would probably be a little cheaper then. I got people in Philly, actually. Other than Chad.
When they do that, you know, they have to have the shipment has to be certified, you know, like a battery or whatever hazardous type material.
Yep.
So they have to pay an extra cost for that. And when you get the pallet, they ship it to you. It's a freight ship. So it's brought to you by, you know, on a truck that's got a lift gate on it. And you got to have like a pallet jack or whatever to get it off the truck.
Or
yeah, I've searched into it for a while. I just haven't had the resources to do it.
So what is the means in which you can come up with the resources? I guess that's the question. You've got a goal, write that goal down, batteries.
Right. Well, I've been thinking about starting another profile.
Hang on 1 second. All right. No.
So anyway, I was
like
thinking
I was
about.
saying,
Go ahead first.
What I was saying is, basically, you know, I mean, I definitely see that as being a very easily tangible goal. And if you're gonna achieve a goal like that, because it is a rather large goal, I mean, not huge, but large. You know, you're not talking to the UN or anything like that, but at the end of the day, goals need to be written down, and then you need to figure out the path in which to get it. Because obviously, if you have no cash right now and you need cash now and you don't have a trust fund, then you need to figure out how to get it. So talk to people, you know, hey, I'd like to invest in this, you know, here's the plan, but you got to have that plan written out, you know.
Right.
So,
No, yeah, I was thinking about starting another profile, and I already have a name for it, but I was thinking about starting a profile more of, you know, like a business type profile, because I was on a stream of, I don't know, a week or two ago. I think it was OTW stream, and they were talking about, you know, the community thing and this, and that, and the other thing. And I'm like, well, I offered, you know, my services.
there, Larry.
Yeah, you know, and this one guy jumped on it real quick, like, well, can you make me some batteries? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, where are you at? And I'm like, Oregon. And he's like, oh. I'm like, dude, all you got to do is pay the shipping, of course, and I'll make you what the fuck you want.
And
he
see,
just,
that right there is a money-making opportunity. And let me tell you, let me ask you this, actually. And I want you to seriously think this through. Do you think that if I offer, let's say I offer a customer a job for 10 grand, right? Do you think that I start that job with no money down?
right. No, I understand that.
So what you do is you set up where, let's say you establish a price of, let's say $300 for a battery system. It is not unrealistic for a smaller system. You charge them $100, you buy all your materials and everything like that. And that price also includes, let's say, the shipping. And obviously, as I add things, the size of the product continues to go down because you've got your profit margin. So you build that as far as what you're willing to sacrifice time-wise for that, and then go from there. Does
Yeah,
that
well,
make
that's
sense?
like, yeah, the cheapest way. I mean, you can get unused batteries that have never, like are still in the case fairly cheap, but the cheapest way to get them is when they've already been made into packs and those places have gone out of business or don't use those batteries no more. And then you got to take them apart and then put them back together, the way you want. You can get them as cheap as,
Right.
I mean, you can get them dirt cheap
As
that
cheap
way,
as
but
you
the problem is taking them apart in that time,
Right. But what I'm saying is offer the customer what they want. If they want a used battery, they're quality
Right.
batteries. Back
Right.
your work. Don't back the product per se, but in your experience, these have always been good to play.
Right. Well,
Now,
the
if they
both.
want a new system, then the price goes up because obviously that product goes up. So let's say, for instance, in my industry, let's say somebody's building a very large raised bed. I'm working on a project. The more intricate it gets, the
Right.
more
The
I'm
price goes
going to
up.
charge them.
Right. Well,
So
yeah, I
use
mean,
that same model.
a lot of that's too, I mean, it's going to have to be put out, descriptively accurately because you can get brand new batteries, which are going to cost you a small fortune, or you can get a brand new battery that's maybe a year old, but still perfectly fine that you're going to be able to get, a lot cheaper. And all these batteries from the places I get pre-test them and they let you know pretty much exactly what kind of shape they're in before you buy them. And I've been buying from this companies for at least 5 or 6 years, and they've always been right on the money.
All right, so here's how you do that. You put that information from that company right in there with the battery as you sell the product.
Right, and just omit where it comes from.
Yep, what it is, where it is, how it is, and who it is. And you disclose all that information prior to, here's my supplier on the battery.
Yeah.
And it's full discretion, or it's full disclosure rather.
Yeah, I was thinking about maybe like kind of doing a GoFundMe type thing on my business profile.
No. You don't need to get crowdfunding.
Well,
in
more of a
scenario like that.
donation type thing.
Fuck no, there's no nation like donation. Larry, I'm telling you how to get it for yourself, man. You don't need me to give it to you. Silver and gold have I none, but what I have to give you, I offer freely.
Right, I understand that. It's just,
and if you have the opportunity, the crowd is going to give you $1,000. You're going to be able to provide yourself $1,000 a day potentially if you wanted to work on it and get it. And the way to do it is when you get somebody that gets an order, you take 50% down. You buy your materials so you're not out any material cost. And that part is non-refundable. Then you build it and you deliver it on the deadline that you've agreed to. Then they pay you the rest of the money upon receipt. That's how you got to do it. And then you don't need no damn crowdfunding. You just need to bid your work. So let's say you work at a project for 10 hours. And that 10 hours realistically, your work is probably in that field between $50 and $75 an hour. That's $750 to $500, somewhere in there, that you need to tack on to the material cost. Then you have the material cost of shipping. So get all the shipping from the shipper and all the shipping to the shippee. You add all those costs in. And then if you're doing it a certain way, there's other things to associate as far as governmental agencies. It depends on whether it's a private or public contract. I'm not a lawyer or anything like that, so that's not advice. It's just something to be aware of.
Right. Well, I know battery prices, like for a pre-built battery, you usually pay about $1 a watt. So if you have a 300 watt battery, you're paying around $300. So like those ones, even when I was buying them for $100, that $100 battery was still worth $300 or $400, basically. Actually, probably more than that. Probably more than that because of the certifications that they came with, because it wasn't a server thing.
Yes, I totally understand that. Well, what I'm saying is you're talking about the business. I'm talking about the function of the business.
Right. No, I understand.
Which is equally important, because if you're charging $1 an hour, then you're complaining about, oh, well, I'm not making any money. That's because you've undervalued yourself. It has nothing to do with the customer.
No, I understand that. Hey, hang on for a second. I gotta let the dogs outside. I'm back. Yeah, a lot of it's going to depend on too what they want the batteries for, because like I was trying to explain that to Mary a while back, like she wants to, be totally off grid there, using batteries and panels and so on and so forth. And she's got a 12-volt system right now, and I was trying to explain to her it'd be better to go all the way up to 48. Because when you up your voltage, you can make your wire a lot smaller, and copper's, really expensive.
Right.
And then also, say like if you have 12 watts of voltage, and let's say 1,000 watts of power, your amperage is going to be like 50 or 60 amps that your wire's going to have to hold. When you up your voltage, your amperage lowers half every time you go up. So like if you go up 24 volts, your amperage is going to be half of what it was for 12 volts.
Right. And that right there, that is what is valuable, Larry.
Right. Well,
They
it took
can
me
get a battery. Hang on, hear me out. Hear me out. When I'm as a customer in this situation, you're talking fucking Greek to me. volts and amps, I have an understanding of them. I know how they work for the most part. Your understanding of that is the reason that I would pay you in the first place. I can go to the fucking local store and get a fucking battery. But if you can give me a battery that is better and works more proficiently because you've gone in there and spent an hour or two in there to make it better, that right there is extremely valuable. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had to learn all that. I've had my one electric scooter I've had probably for about 8 years now, and I never could afford anybody to work on shit for me, so I had to learn myself, and I've learned a lot of shit since I've owned that damn scooter.
And that's what I'm saying. If you get up and do something with that knowledge, you would no longer have any woes as far as finances goes. Do you get what I'm saying?
Right. All right. Well, I'll start making a business profile and then send you a format and see what you think. Is that all right?
Yeah, just jump online or on YouTube and find a video that says how to figure that stuff out. Like it's all available for free. There was a place that I saw that you can get a free LLC as well as an EIN, so that takes care of your banking if you decide to go that direction. If you decide to go in the private, there's plenty of people that we both know that I would assume would be happy to help you out. Assuming they saw the business plan and all of the action that goes into it before, like the great idea is a great idea. A great idea that is not implemented in any fashion is just that. It's a great idea. It goes nowhere.
Right. No, I understand that.
Like in order for me, for instance, in order for me to step in and invest into something like that, I'm going to need to see the brass tacks of the situation. Like, let me see what you got. I have no problem investing into something like that. I just need to know what I'm getting into so that I know that there's a capital so that there's an actual gain and it doesn't all get eaten up in capital gains or anything like that. Like, we would have to sit down and really come up with a good business model. If you've got a great product, that's awesome. If you've got a great service, that's fucking awesome. It's not even a third of the grand scheme of that kind of scenario.
Right. Well, like I said, a lot of the batteries I've purchased from this one place have either been server rack batteries or medical back batteries for the medical field. And I really like getting those one because, like I said, they have 5 or 6 different certifications they have to go through to be in those, especially the hospital batteries.
Right. So you got a good quality product.
But the only problem with those is there are certain voltages. So it's like, like I said, it's hard to figure out what voltage to invest in. You know what I'm trying to say?
And that's why I'm saying, like, grabbing a couple would be, if I were you, I'd grab a couple to have on hand, a couple of this, a couple of that, look at what people are using, and then, offer your services for the other part of the customization. How to switch that system over from A to B, because that is that part of the service. That's really what you're providing is you're providing a service base as opposed to anything else. Because granted, you can get the products, but the electrician that comes in, his job is not to sell the fucking electrical socket.
Right.
The electrical socket just comes hand in hand with his fucking job. Now, if it's a nice light or a beautiful light, now you're talking a salesman to the light company that you buy that, and then your electrician then installs that after you've purchased it, or they have a direct supplier and they do that where you just pick it out.
Right.
You know, so your batteries, that's all on the tech end, and that's all fucking awesome. I'm not diminishing that in any way, shape, or form. That is the left hand that feeds the right hand. The right hand, on the other hand, is the one that is accountable for making sure that you have money to buy those batteries, etc.
Right.
You know, so if you really want to do something like this, I would absolutely encourage it. And, you know, like, you never know who knows who in this grand scheme of things. And you could build a battery and, you know, all of a sudden now you're building for, you know, some dude out in the middle of nowhere that's a multi-trillionaire, you know, where he brings you out. You never fucking know until you put pen to fucking paper and do it.
Yeah, it's like I've been watching this one guy. He had his own company, had this like bendy tripod he invented, and that business went out of business or whatever. So he got some hookups on some batteries, and he sold a few pallets of batteries, and he's all like, "Oh, I don't want to sell fucking batteries." And guess what he's doing for a living now? He's fucking selling batteries, and he's got 2 big warehouses full of fucking pallets full of fucking batteries.
Now that sounds like opportunity knocking and somebody opening the fucking door. Same thing
Yeah,
could happen for you.
The guy's also making electrified Volkswagen buses. He's made like 4 of them so far. He wants to make 12 of them and take them to Hawaii and make them like tour buses and taxis and shit like that. And when he's done with these things, it looks like these electric motors, when he gets done, it looks like it came from the manufacturer that way. I mean, it looks like it was, made from the factory that way. It's fucking good work.
Larry, let me ask you this. What would be the thing that would be stopping, other than financial? Because obviously you're going to tell me I don't have this, and I'm going to tell you you're full of shit, so we can avoid that argument. Other than a financial obligation, what is preventing you from buying some piece of shit car that's good at the bones and buying a conversion kit to electric and then retrofitting it and selling it for a profit?
I could do something like that. It would take...
Perfect. That's all I needed to hear. Now, if you want to do some research, I would be willing to further that conversation upon the presentation of the research, and also, what kind of value, and, with all the brass tacks ironed out, I would be happy to get on the backside of that and go from there.
I think initially a better route would be to try to go the bicycle.
You're wrong. You're wrong. Absolutely wrong. Never try. Only do.
All right. Well, excuse my mispronunciation.
Hey,
it'd be better. It'd be better to, I believe, to start in like the bicycle scooter type field, because in the automobile field, one, your costs are going to be 100 times more. Two, now,
I'll lean on your experience, and we'll switch to a bicycle scenario. Same offer stands when I get information and everything like that. Then I would definitely be interested in furthering this conversation by far.
Well, and the most reason I say that too is because you figure, like a Tesla's going to cost you $100,000 for a damn electric car. Not too many people can afford $100,000, but a lot of people can afford, electrified bicycle that's going to get you 30 miles or whatever for, $3,000 or $4,000. My son paid $6,000 for a bike. I think it does like 15 miles, for $6,000.
All
So
right, so I understand where you're coming from. I definitely get where and I totally agree. I totally agree with what you're saying. However, I'm looking at a macro, you're looking at a micro. While I agree that it is a valuable place, I think to invest into both options and really look into both as a viable option, because the thing about it is somebody in, let's say, Minnesota, I'm not going to want to get on a fucking bike when it's 30 below and I don't give a fuck, got a heater in my truck and I'm off to the rodeo.
right.
Now, an electric car, your cost goes up, so does the value on return. And if you can get a good bone car with a blown motor, mechanic special blown motor, and it's a fucking Audi or something like that, you've got a quality piece of machinery. Rip the fucking motor out and put an electric system in. That way you're paying pennies on the dollar for the frame and making that money by the sale and your education. Now you've got an Audi that's an electric Audi.
Right, which would be probably $130,000, $40,000 car brand new.
And guess how much you did not pay for?
Right.
All
No,
of
I
it.
understand. I understand what you're saying.
All I would be doing is taking and working with you on a business where you're going to make money if you put yourself to it. Obviously, I'm going to make money because it's literally, there's a rule in life. And the rule is, it's a law. And it's the law of returns. So, for instance, if you put one piece of corn, one kernel of corn, you get the return of many ears of corn if you take care of it and are diligent to making it good.
Right.
And you can feed yourself for the rest of your life with that one kernel of corn. Obviously, you want more than just the corn, so do the same thing with other vegetables and so on and so forth. And you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm willing to put my part in if there is a part to put in.
Right.
I
Well,
just need to see that part.
A lot of the reason too I'm suggesting, the bicycle scooter route first is because of the space, with like cars and stuff.
That makes sense.
You need a lot more space, and this isn't my space per se to use as I wish. I mean,
So we do 25, 30 bikes, and then we move into the car.
Right. That's what I was saying. You'd have to
I'm
build
okay.
up a little capital first to be able to grab some property to be able to do
yeah. When I go for walks, I get where I'm going, if that makes sense.
No, I understand. I just want
And
to.
if it means that I need to look into, renting a spot, well, if you need a spot to rent, did you see what that is?
Right. No, I understand. And I just kind of trying to let you know that I have thought of different, hitches, different.
Why don't we do this? Shoot me a call later on today, and let's actually have a conversation off of a live broadcast. Because obviously I'm very reluctant to say much of anything as far as anything except for a potential offer.
Right. And kind of like I was saying before, I don't want to slit my own throat.
Right.
I I could do it pretty easily.
Oh yes, yes, absolutely.
And so could you, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, we both could.
Absolutely.
All right,
That's-
hey, hang on again. I got to let the other dog out. I got both dogs. She left me her dog because she has to go get oral surgery done, I think, today.
Oh, yuck.
She's getting her.
I'm
she's
actually going to
getting her-
jump off.
All right, I'll talk to you later, man. Thank
All
you
right,
for
peace.
everything. Bye-bye.
Yep.
I'll be right back. All right, people, I'm back. If anybody'd like to join in, make a comment, whatever, you're more than gladly to interject at any time. All right, I guess we'll go back to the video I was showing earlier. This video is titled Terrifying Things Caught in Oregon, brought to you by Unpopular Notes. Please like, subscribe, and share. Tell them Larry James 965 sent you. Thank you.
Peacefully.
I check the camera and I see this man waddle out of my room with a pillowcase full of my stuff.
A neighbor captured a video on her security camera of the same intruder making his way casually towards her house. He probably didn't get in because nothing beyond that video from outside her porch was captured. But it's both creepy and scary, and neighbors are rallying to keep their eyes out since the suspect hasn't been captured yet by the police. Scary car crash. Looking at the car hanging on its back, you wonder at the impact that could have upturned it in that very dangerous way.
A scary crash was caught on camera in a part of Portland that's become infamous for wrecks.
Eyewitnesses say the cars collided at speed, with one of them flying right on top of the other in a scary accident that would cause chills for anybody. This is not the first time this particular spot has witnessed a car crash. It's seen so many crashes that the death toll on this particular spot from a car accident has climbed to 20 in the last 15 years alone. You don't have to go too far to find the last one. Only a week before this video, another crash had occurred here, one that involved a fatality. The authorities appear to be making some great efforts to ensure that the tragic events, as well as the avoidable deaths, are reduced.
Pretty tragic that there's not more cops out right now taking care of the 82nd area. It's just the shortage of police. I know that's an issue. I'd like to see more things that happen around here. Maybe a light, maybe something else, but something has to happen.
A haunted store. Do spirits smoke cannabis? Stories of haunted places exist, and we see them all the time, especially restless spirits hovering around the spot where they lost their lives. But what are spirits doing haunting cannabis stores?
In downtown Oregon City, there are spirits afoot. At least that's the theory behind paranormal activity witnessed at 50 Trees, a cannabis dispensary.
In this cannabis shop in downtown Oregon City, in a surveillance video captured in August, something eerie happened. Keep your eyes on the glass-tipped jar as it begins to move on a level surface.
As it was happening, I kind of felt like somebody was standing next to me, or like somebody was like right here.
There's no slant, no reason for the jar to move on its own, but it is moving until it falls off the level surface. Shortly after this event, another one is recorded. Watch as the pens inside the pen cup begin to move as though they're being reorganized and placed in better order.
Okay, that just happened.
Look closely now, and you'll see the scissors move around a bit. Several years ago, the building, which is now a cannabis shop, was a pharmacy, and one of the employees thinks the pharmacist, who is said to be a stickler for order, rearranges things when they're not.
Feel like it's the pharmacist because he likes to organize things.
Think the video's been doctored? That's impossible, because it is illegal to doctor security footage from a cannabis store. That leaves us with one explanation. There are some eerie things happening in there.
What's gonna happen next?
Sleight of hand. The perfect package thief. Most of the thefts we discuss have just one thing in common. The thieves are so casual and unbothered. They wear a cool demeanor while carrying out their evil acts. Look at the man in the video. On first look, you'll think that he's a package delivery guy coming to deliver a package to this family, since he has a package in his hand. But watch as he drops it and quickly picks up a different package from this family's doorstep. He must have cased the environment and made sure that a new package had been left at the door to pull off this near-perfect crime. But it wasn't perfect, as the family's door cam caught the whole movement and the police were quickly involved. The perfect package thief wasn't able to complete his sleight of hand. We'll still give him a 60% rating for calmness, as he really did pull off a quick one. The Portland Pooper. Here's a fully grown man doing the dirtiest thing anyone could ever do out in public, and the worst thing about it is how he's staring back at the camera like he knew it was there. Here's what he does. He takes toilet paper, sneaks into corners, pulls his pants down to defecate at the side of an office building.
I find it interesting that he has toilet paper with him. It's very pre-planned.
This is not a man who was caught in a difficult situation. No, it's not a one-off either. He's done it before.
I think it's really gross and shocking. I don't know what to say about it.
If that's not gross enough, imagine the shame of having his face all over town on posters with the tag Portland Pooper, as the police have gotten involved and would like to pull him in for what they called offensive littering.
I think that's more of a private thing to do, not in an area where people live around with children, and just not okay.
Have you ever had something this offensive happen around
littering.
you?
I'm really curious what the
circumstances
are as to why he's doing
this. Is it the worst reduction to our base instincts I've seen in a long time? One thing's for sure, it sure is gross.
I think it's very Portland, and I'm not surprised at all. You just really don't know what to expect around here. People, they like to do their own thing. They kind of walk to the beat of their own
They're
drum.
staring at the damn
A long
camera.
car crash.
What the hell?
This might just be one of the longest car crashes you have ever seen. A heavy layer of fog has limited visibility on Interstate 5 in Oregon. In an accident, someone is usually at fault for the collision. In this case, the fog is to blame for all the damage you can see in this video.
Heavy layer of fog, and all of a sudden the cars in front of me were all stopped, so I swerved over. I was in the fast lane, I swerved over, and
Since the drivers couldn't see where they're going, they couldn't correct their course and get to safety from the moment the first car hit the one ahead of it. The others simply slammed into each other in a long line of crashes that caused so much damage to the vehicles involved.
got out of it, hit the brakes, and the gal behind me did the same thing too, so we didn't collide with anybody. But as we were sitting there, we heard crash after crash after crash.
One of the drivers who managed to get out of it said she swerved quickly immediately after she saw the cars in front of her stopped. Her quick thinking was the difference between her and the other drivers who had failed to find their way out of one of the longest car crashes you'll ever see, with dozens of cars involved in this crazy road accident.
There's a lot of damage. There's fuel. There's parts, cars all over the place, just scattered all about. And
Street education for downtown security. Watch as these two downtown security officers walk up to a homeless man who quickly says, "Just to let you know, I am filming."
Yeah, just to let you know I'm filming. No, I appreciate that.
That tells you he's all ready to do battle, and maybe this isn't his first encounter with security agents. That must be why he's so versed in the laws of public bench use. The officers tell him he's free to sit on the floor, but he shouldn't sit on the bench or obstruct people from using it.
All right. The reason we can't have everyone sitting on the benches is to be available to use. You are welcome to sleep. Yes.
He quickly informs them that there are numerous benches on both sides of the park, and he has as much right as anyone to use these ones.
There are plenty of benches to use in both sides of the park. I am not obstructing in any way anybody.
The back and forth with the officers didn't last very long, but you can see the confidence with which the homeless man quickly educated the officers of the law about their duties and limitations.
Also, you are here not to define or to create the laws, but to enforce them. And I've done my research, I've looked it up, and there is nothing in any of the codes that says anything about laying on a bench.
In some ways, it's both sad and refreshing at the same time. First, the confidence and a strong grasp of what the law is.
How dare you lay on that
Anything
bench?
beyond that is harassment. Then there's the sadness with the officer saying he's free to lie or sit on the floor, but not on the bench, which will bring tears to your eyes. But today, they didn't just meet a homeless man.
dare
but
you
one who
lay on
understood
that
what rights
bench?
mean in a civilized country.
Again, you enforce the laws, you don't define them, and you don't create them.
Bike thief tries to outrun an electric scooter.
Switch to Chrome to protect yourself from malware, so you can surf without getting fished.
This Oregon man was just birdwatching when he notices something suspicious. At first, all you see is a long expanse of empty parking spaces. You may not see it yet, but give it a minute. Suddenly, the bike thief bursts out of the corner in a stolen bike and tries to run off. The birdwatcher, in an electric scooter, goes after him with lightning speed as well.
I knew it.
There's a close shave where the bike thief is almost run over by an oncoming car as he cuts into an intersection. This is getting exciting. A vigilante and a bike chase. The thief doesn't yet know someone was after him, but when he notices, he slows down slightly and tries to talk his way out, but the vigilante accuses him of stealing the bike.
Stop, dude. Stop. It was my bike to begin with. You stole that bike. Stop. Yeah. I did that, yes. Stop.
Our vigilante calls out to him to stop, but he won't. Instead, he teases and then flies off quickly. You can hear our vigilante call out again. Stop, thief. I have a full tank of gas. You're not going anywhere.
Look at that. I got a full battery. I have a full battery. You ain't going nowhere. Stop.
The thief didn't stop and had to be warned that he's being filmed. Whether something knocked him off the bike or our vigilante got to him, all we see now is the fall and the short confrontation between the thief and our vigilante before the thief leaves the bike and takes off.
I want the bike back.
The vigilante picks up the bike and begins the journey back to the spot where he started filming. We do have some real-life superheroes living among us. Scary tornado gathering above Oregon. Tornadoes are scary on their own, but sometimes, as with everything else, the anticipation of an event is more troubling than the event itself. The people of Forest Grove, Oregon had to endure a 2-day tornado warning with uncertainty hanging over their shoulders for those full 2 days. 2 different tornadoes threatened to hit in the space of those 2 days. In this video, you can see one of them get so close to the cloud gathering, almost like it's teasing them as it swirls gently up in the sky, hanging low without gathering momentum.
Oh, it's been going. I watched it over. We were in Banks. I saw this cloud going up. I have video of that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Soon it starts sucking the leaves in, as tornadoes often do, picking up speed and taking everything in its path up with it. But this one doesn't make a connection with the earth for the real thing to begin, and for 2 days everyone had to wait and hope that the devastation of tornadoes would pass by without touching down.
Oh, jeez. Oh my God! Look at all the leaves.
Ultimately, none of those tornadoes really took off, and neither brought the expected devastation. Manhunt for a murderer of 3. The man in the footage is said to be responsible for the deaths of 3 different people in 3 different places.
Authorities are desperately searching for a killer accused of going on a rampage. Police in the North Bend area say the man may be responsible for the deaths of at least 3 people at different locations.
His first killing might have been a mistake, but then even premeditated murder could be mistaken for an accident. The perp who drives a white Dodge pickup truck ran over an old couple of 74 and 73 years, respectively, at an RV campground.
Police believe the rampage started when the man allegedly ran over a couple with a white Dodge pickup truck at an RV campground in North Bend Friday morning.
What reason would our perp have for running the old people over? Your guess is as good as mine. The older man, 74, died while his 73-year-old wife is in a hospital in a critical condition. But his crimes didn't end there. In the hunt for the perp, police found an unidentified man dead in his trailer. There's no way to know how long ago the death occurred, but that discovery was the second notch on the murderer's blade. On the same day, the police responded to a shooting at a marijuana dispensary where they found a woman shot dead with the suspect at large.
We have a witness that indicates that the person that was driving this pickup truck got out of the truck, appeared to be armed with a handgun, and then disappeared or ran into the woods or the brush nearby.
A citywide manhunt was immediately in play, but the suspect was a step ahead, and the police say there's a likelihood he purchased more ammo before crashing his van, burning it, and vanishing without a trace. So far, the events are so random that cops haven't been able to find a connection between the killer and his victims. Deadly school shooting at an Oregon school. Some of the worst things about school shootings are the panic, the deep-seated fear in the eyes of the students, the trauma, and the fact that these kids lose a huge chunk of their innocence.
A gunman walking into an Oregon high school, heading straight for that locker room, opening fire, killing one student, others running for cover, including a teacher who was hit and survived.
Watch as the kids from Oregon High School are marched away with their hands raised high in the sky. Look at the large collection of backpacks, the police trucks coming in.
Priority call, Reynolds High School. Got a report of shots fired in the locker room. At least one person down, medical's responding.
Tears, pain, and the specter of trauma constantly hovering over students as they think about the one child who lost his life in this incident. A teacher was shot as well, but the teacher survived and will be fine.
He was carrying a gun running after one of our teachers, our PE teacher, Mr. Rispler, who actually ended up getting shot.
When you listen to these kids discuss their ordeal, their fear, their pain, and their uncertainty, it hits you again that this shouldn't be happening anywhere near children.
I know everybody's nervous, wants to get to their kids. We just don't want a mad rush, and we got to account for everybody.
Protesters set a police station ablaze. This is the disturbing moment protesters burned down the Portland police station. Watch as what looks like Molotov cocktails are thrown into the station. The moment was captured on CCTV camera, and you can see the fire began to lick the floor, climbing slowly. The fire, which started around 11:30 p.m., led to the declaration of a riot, which is why you see the riot police jumping into the vans in the opening part of the clip. In the next footage, what you see is the wreck, what the fire left behind. Firemen can be seen trying to douse what's left of the flames. Blackout after Southeast Portland fire. A fire at the Southeast Portland substation means that thousands of people have to live without electricity. You can see the darkness in which the city is said to have come following an explosion in the Mount Tabor neighborhood. Streets were closed as the fire services sought to contain the fire without escalating the issue. Over 3,000 people were left without power for almost a whole day. The video pans to the areas of Mount Tabor where the fire incident had taken place. Have you ever been jolted by the sound of a heavy explosion? That's what people living in the neighborhood had to deal with. Before the last clip, since you watched until this point, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel? We upload 2 new creepy, disturbing, and downright scary videos every week, so stay up to date with our latest releases by getting those post notifications. If you enjoyed this one, we have plenty more for you on the channel, so you won't want to miss a single one. What were they looking for? This Hillsborough neighborhood had their early morning sleep disturbed by a police search operation going on in a house in the neighborhood.
The sound of explosions jolted neighbors in Hillsborough out of their sleep this morning. As Fox 12's Simon Gutierrez explains, the early morning operation to serve a search warrant flooded the area with police and had the neighborhood on edge.
In the video, you'll see the police fire some tactical munitions into the building. You remember how it is with all the SWAT movies when those stun grenades are shot into a criminal hideout to throw the criminals off guard? This is the real-life SWAT business going on in the Hillsborough neighborhood. The police say they had intel of criminal activity at that location and were conducting a search operation to solidify their lead since the building has been on their radar for a while. People living in the neighborhood can be seen discussing their feelings, especially with the disturbances and the jolting noise, but if it brings safety, why not?
Me and the dog got up, came downstairs, I walked out, and my first reaction was, holy cow, look at all this out here. We had task force across the street, SWAT, weapons drawn, everything going on.
Watch the older man chuckle as he narrates his experience. The police didn't make any arrests, and ultimately it didn't seem like they got anything out of that house.
Stay away from the windows, stay in this area here. We said, okay. And that's what we did.
Was that a little freaky?
Yeah.
All right. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. We're just kind of changing up. As you can see, it was a clickbait title. We're going to change it way up. We're going to go to a video called Fast food film. Fast food peers filming. Are you allowed to film fast food places? Brought to you by David Finkel. Please go like, subscribe, and share. This video is used for entertainment, fair use, and educational purposes only. And please tell them that Larry James 965 sent you. Thank you.
Is everything all right?
Yes,
What is this about?
it's just me videoing.
Video of what?
Right now, McDonald's, and well, now you.
Why is that?
Why not?
Nothing. I'm just asking you
Okay.
a question. I'm from McDonald's. So I'm just asking if you have a reason to videotape. You can videotape. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But is there a reason why you're videotaping?
Well, like you said, doesn't matter.
So you have no purpose. You have no reason. Because you're intervening in people's privacy, right?
No, not at all.
You are. I mean, you are in a common place. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
That's your right.
But you're invading their privacy in public.
I understand how.
What the fuck?
Right?
I do. That's part of what I'm doing is desensitizing people to a harmless camera. Oh, Marilyn, that explains it.
What is that about?
Oh, it's a camera.
I know that. What's it for?
It takes pictures.
Yes. Why are we doing this?
Why not?
Just asking why.
Okay, just answering why not. I'm answering a question with a question. You got me.
Yes.
It's just a hobby.
A hobby.
Yeah.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me. There's cameras everywhere nowadays on businesses, in the streets, on our sidewalks, on our light poles, on our traffic signals. You know, all these cameras are okay and accepted, but when you as an individual goes out and films in public, all of a sudden it's a big federal sin. How dare you film me in public? Back to the video.
This is a camera. It takes pictures. Right now, you got my attention. I was taking pictures of Popeyes, but you called my attention over here.
How's it going, man? Hello? How's it going? Who are you with?
Who am I with?
Yeah, we were just wondering why you were recording the business.
I'm not with it. Well, right now I'm with you.
Are you just independently here on your own?
I'm independently. Let me see. Yeah. There's no one around me. You're the only one here.
Okay, we were wondering why you were filming the business.
Oh. Because I want to.
Are you allowed to, or are you just trying
Yeah.
to make a documentary? Are you just trying to make a documentary thing or something like?
Yeah, I'm allowed to.
Okay. And can I get your information?
How dare you? How dare you film in public? This isn't America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. How dare you?
YouTube, David Finkel.
You don't have like a card or anything?
I have cards, but I didn't bring them with me today. But if you look up David Finkel, Finkel on YouTube, you'll see me. Actually, you'll see about me.
Okay, well, the owner of the business is concerned in wanting your information.
Oh, David Finkel on YouTube.
You just told me that they would see a video about you, but nothing, like none of your information.
No, you see videos from this point of view. You won't see my face.
Okay, so what is the purpose behind the recording?
It desensitizes people to the camera.
Desensitizes people to the camera.
People are real paranoid about cameras. Your business has cameras, but you freak out if someone has a camera. So I'm just getting everyone comfortable with the idea of a camera being around.
You're making more people uncomfortable than comfortable.
They'll go through a period of discomfort, but once they figure out what's going on, they'll be more comfortable with cameras, and they'll be happy with cameras on school buses. They'll be happy with cameras at banks.
But you're not explaining what's going on.
I don't need to. They just need to go through the fear, and I realize
only we can film you. You cannot film us. How dare you film us? Only we can film you. What the hell, over?
research it like, oh, cameras help people. Cameras don't hurt unless you're up to no good, but you don't look like you're up to no good. So I think you're safe.
I'm not worried about me. I'm more worried about you.
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay, well, if the police come, I'm not sure what you're going to say to them.
90% of the time, they stay away from me because they understand what I'm doing. The other 10% of the time, they come and remind me to stay off your property, stay in public. They remind me not to stick scissors in outlets. Most police know what's going on.
And I would suggest you take any of my information off of here because I don't consent to it.
I don't need your consent.
Yes, you do. It's my personal privacy.
You approach the camera, I'm in public.
And you turn the camera on me.
approached you when I knew you were filming, but I don't want you to film me in public. What the THF?
You did, I didn't. Well, yeah. Research, photography, videography in public. And after a while, you realize, hey, it's okay. I'm safe. And I don't have to give my permission.
Okay.
Okay?
What is this?
Camera.
No, is that advertising?
Yeah.
And what is that?
What's what?
What is this?
This is a camera.
And what is that for?
It takes pictures, videos.
Did you just take a picture of me?
No, you walked past it and it's on video, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be on video. You shouldn't be taking a video of people who
It's
don't
okay.
want to be on the video. No, it's not okay. It's not
It is.
okay.
It actually. What's what?
What is this?
This is a camera.
And what is that for?
It takes pictures, videos.
Did you just take a picture of me?
No, you walked past it and it's on video, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to. Want to be on video. You shouldn't be taking a video of people who
It's
don't
okay.
want to be on the video. No, it's not okay. It's not
It
okay.
is. It actually.
How's it going? Who are you with?
Who am I with?
Yeah, we were just wondering why you were recording the business.
I'm not with it. Well, right now I'm with you.
Are you just independently here on your own?
I'm independently. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, there's no one around me. You're the only one here.
Okay, we were wondering why you were filming the business.
Oh. Because I want to.
Are you allowed to, or I mean, are you just trying
Yeah.
to like, make a documentary thing or something? Like,
Yeah, I'm allowed to.
okay. And can I get your information?
YouTube, David Finkel.
You don't have like a card or anything?
I have cards, but I didn't bring them with me today. But if you look up David Finkel, Finkel on YouTube, you'll see me.
All right, people, we've been here about 2 hours now. I think we're going to go ahead and end the stream. Don't forget the tagline. Don't let that door hit you in the ass. All right, you all have a great day. Better tomorrow. We'll be here same time, same bat channel. This is the end of the show. Take care. Bye.